What you're about to hear is an extract from our weekly podcast. If you want access to the full thing, you can get it right now over on our Patreon page at patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. Or you can wait till next Wednesday when it goes live to everyone. Cheers, thanks, sayonara. So let's just jump into the first topic and we'll talk about Age of Empires. They announced for the second day of Gamescom Age of Empires 4, a return to form.
Which I totally called, by the way.
Which Mike in the office called. He didn't call it.
I don't like boasting unless I have a really good reason to do it.
Yeah, like no, that's
which is always.
Yeah, there we go. Yes, I know. So there's Age of Empires 4.
Boasting about boasting now.
Yeah, I don't like to boast it unless I'm the best, which I am. So Age of Empires 4 was announced for Windows 10, PC exclusive as far as we know, published by Microsoft Studios, which is just as you expected. Yep. This time developed by Relic Entertainment. No release date so far, no gameplay, no anything really. In fact, the whole trailer was Age of Empires 3 concept art with Charles Dance, who you might know as Tywin Lannister from Game of Thrones, giving a little bit of a speech over it. That's all we got. So it was kind of like a, it's happening, guys. It's finally happening. Age of Empires, let me give you a quick history lesson, all right? And we'll drop off and see if we can find some times here where we've played them. Age of Empires is a real-time strategy game first developed in 1997 by Ensemble Studios and published by Microsoft. The first game came out and Rise of Rome expansion came out a year later. Huge success. Over 5 of the games in the series have sold 1 million copies. Age of Empires, the first one, sold 3 million copies in its first year. Isn't that nice? It was followed by Age of Empires 2 in 1999. One of the biggest
it's the daddy, isn't it? Age of Empires 2's like, if you reel off any list of best ever PC games, that'll be on there for sure.
Yeah, it was hugely popular. Like a 92 on Metacritic, right? This is like the big one. Command and Conquer was the king at the time, and then this was stomping everywhere. It was on the PS2, Nokia N-Gages and all that. It was everywhere, man.
Nokia N-Gages.
Can you remember them? Can you remember that fad?
What a reference.
Yeah. Then it was followed by Age of Mythology, a little bit of a spin-off. My favourite strategy game I ever played, actually. Age of Empires 3 was the last main one in the series in 2005. So this is something. 12 years ago, right? There's been a couple of spin-offs like Age of Empires Online, and they've done a HD remake of the second one.
Yeah, which they did a lovely job. It looks very nice and holds up really well as far as gameplay goes.
Until now. Age of Empires 4, different developer this time, Relic Entertainment. So let's just get straight into that, because obviously all of the ones I've mentioned were made by Ensemble, who went on to make Halo Wars for Bungie. Bungie loved them so much that they called them Awesome-tastic, which is a cringy quote of the day.
Word now.
This is a different game developer altogether, Relic. They're not just some little rookie that's come out of the woodwork, are they, Mike? Oh no, they're veterans. They know what they're doing. Of their games,
they know what they're doing. People have been divided over this news, haven't they? Of
That's
Relic making Age of Empires. Some people are excited. I think it's great. I mean, I think as far as I'm concerned, Relic are a solid studio. They know exactly what they're doing with strategy games. They've got a long history. They made Homeworld, which, if Age of Empires is like the RTS game, then Homeworld is the space combat strategy game. Like, that is how you make a nice space strategy game with, big spaceships and stuff. Yeah. They did that, and they're the kings of that.
Exactly. Guys, you've been playing strategy games for like years and years, and company Heroes and all that, don't you? Like, so they're not like nobodies, right?
Definitely yeah, exactly. I think everybody's, interested. Who's interested in strategy may have played one of their games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, they've got a good track record, right? And the thing that seems to be causing a little bit of concern is that they don't stick to the formula, which you could argue is innovative, but people want a game and then they want a sequel to be exactly the same game, but better. Like Age of Empires, in fact, that was one of the bar setters because the second one came out, trashed the first one. These guys made like Company of Heroes, and Company of Heroes 2 had a bit of a broken release date problem, but it was patches and patches and patches. Yeah. And Dawn of War, which is another Relic game that you guys are probably going to be the most familiar with, right? Dawn of War 2 was very different. It took away a lot of different, So
that's really the thrust of it. Like, Relic make a great game in Warhammer Dawn of War, and then they make Dawn of War 2, which just feels different. Like, the base building is basically gone. Not only that, they cut down the size of the army. You're handling a handful of heroes, and it almost feels more like a MOBA than a strategy game. So it's different. You've already got Dawn of War. You can play that game if you want to play it.
Exactly.
We're making something else now.
And maybe this is the reason. Yeah, exactly. You know what? Maybe this is the reason people are worried about this, because Age of Empires is the formula. It's the resource gathering. You know what to expect. So if they come in and then turn it into like a small tactical thing like Dawn of War 3, for example, people are going to be a bit miffed off, right? That's what the strategy fans are concerned about. But you guys are strategy fans. How do you feel?
You can see why people are a bit anxious about the fact that, their beloved franchise, their beloved game that they hold so dearly in their hearts because it was a great game back in the day.
Yeah.
I remember it standing out head and shoulders. And you can see they're fearing like Relic slamping their thing on it, but it's far too early to tell. People getting upset on the internet. You can't tell much from that trailer at all. There's no gameplay, and you can't tell exactly what they're going to do, whether they're going to diverge from the core gameplay and try and make it something different. It's far too early to tell.
Just
so everyone should just calm down and wait for information.
Exactly.
That's just general advice for the internet as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Calm down and wait.
That's the thing, right? But on one hand, they've got the track record of changing the game, and they've got a track record of making amazing games. So like you're saying, there's no way you can tell just from a name being said of a development team.
Do we know of them doing this before, taking somebody else's IP and...
No. As far as I'm aware,
so
apart from, unless you count Warhammer, but that's a board game, isn't it? But
that's
that IP. But that's different, isn't it, I guess? Yeah, they haven't like made a sequel, like a third in a game. Like most of the games that they work with, Company of Heroes and Warhammer, they started on the first one. Caution aside, there's been a lot of excitement on the internet for this. The big announcement. I mean, I made a tweet about it, and like I'm not the biggest strategy fan in the world, but I know that this name holds weight. Mike, you're a massive strategy fan, and you were just as excited as I was. Gaz, what do you reckon of it?
If it stays true to the second game, which I played and I loved, if it stays true to that, I'm on board 100%.
I'm not sure where people that won't know the others will stand. For them, it's just another strategy game, but like you're saying there, it could, if it was clever, maybe, invoke this nostalgia and do all these old things. But what we do know, and even people that haven't played the game will know, is it's got quite a lot to live up to. There's a legacy. No matter what they're expecting, somebody's expecting something good from it. You know what I mean? Like, maybe they'll tap into some old stuff. Maybe they're going to push it forward again like Relic might do. We do know that there's a lot to live up to. And that is the big question, really. Like, do you think with this day and age, like, without going too much into all these different amazing strategy games and things like that, things are changing. There's something that you can't put your finger on. There's lots of different types of strategy games now. You've got the grand strategies, and then you've got ones that are a bit more tactical, squad-based stuff. Do you think that they can stick with their 15-year-old, 20-year-old formula and bring it in? Will that be enough? Do you reckon if they do it well?
They'll do that, and they'll build on it, hopefully. If what they will do to make it a success is remind people of what was fun about Age of Empires 2, like just building up a little village at first, and farming and gathering wood and mining for stone and all that stuff. Building on top of that with maybe elements of other games that things that have like some meta grand campaign thing that Total War and Civilization have shown us or something else. They'll evolve it in some way that is fun and interesting. And there's so many things that you could work into the Age of Empires formula, like role playing mechanics and stuff. Like they already have the foundation of leveling up in Age of Empires, where you go through ages.
That's right.
To unlock tech. Like, they could evolve that and make that a proper like RPG style. Get different technologies and a technology tree, which is already there. But they could develop that into something really interesting. And I think there's a lot that they could do with it. And they could do it wrong. They could go wrong with it, definitely. But I think
for me, the grand campaign thing would be a huge selling point for me. I think I mean, the real-time strategy is great, but if you have like a turn-based strategy thing as well, like the Total War does, that was always a huge selling point for me for the Total War series. It's got this dual strategy type of thing. There's a campaign, and then there's the real-time battles. If they can manage that, I don't know how you do that with a resource gathering type strategy game. But
important, isn't it? Because this is a very like Age of Empires. This is like the type of strategy I like, where it's just like you manage your resources a lot and things like that. I'm wondering, because that's the thing, they've got to make a decision now, haven't they? Really, are they going to try and appeal to people, stick to what they know on purpose, and that'll be a niche? They'll carve that. They'll keep that niche. I think that is very likely as well. I think that is, they'll just go for that. They'll tell a different story. I mean, the setting looks like it's going to be colonial era, like empire type stuff. And if they make something that's very similar to what they had 15, 20 years ago, but just make it interesting with interesting. They could even just change the ages up. Like it could go as far as like World War II. That'd be a risk.
There's games like Empire Earth that have done that, where you've kind of gone from like the Stone Age to sci-fi futuristic stuff. The problem with this is that it's all basically been done at this point. So that is they're banking on the name. They can definitely corner that bit of the market that people like me who love strategy games, and I just haven't got games like that much anymore. Just give me that and just do a good job with it, and I'm sure that's probably what they're aiming for.
There's a lot of games doing that these days, isn't it? There's riding on that nostalgia theme. There's there's a lot of remasters and that, but not specifically like this where it's another sequel. But if they did it true to the original formula, they'd get so much goodwill from the nostalgia buyers.
Exactly.
And that in itself will generate enough hype around the launch to get other people interested interested in it, because that's what you've got to try and differentiate yourself, because it is a saturated market. You need to try and get yourself noticed. Make sure everybody's happy, basically. The new people to the franchise, and also the old the older people.
And that's
as well.
probably a lot easier said than done. But no doubt they would have had all these discussions before they decided to announce it. So I'm sure that they've got, and Microsoft are publishing it as well,
which is a home run for them. And it's kind of like watching Microsoft want to get into PC gaming big style. They're pushing Windows 10 as a gaming platform, and they're making cross-play with Xboxes wherever possible. If you asked anyone who's a PC gamer, what should Microsoft do to take PC gaming seriously? Sure, they're taking it seriously. Make another Age of Empires game would be top of the list. So they're doing what people would expect and want them to do, I guess, as well.
Yeah, exactly. So it looks like it could be a return of a grand player in the strategy game, and I thought that was worth talking about for a little bit, because so Gamescom's on at the moment, and it's not like E3 where you'll just get announcement. You'll just get bits and bobs, and we were looking for things. But this is an interesting one, because no matter if you know what Age of Empires is, you don't know what it is, you would have heard of it. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see for people listening if it's a game that you're really excited to get back into, if you've got no hope in it, if in the 15 years it's been gone, all your hopes and dreams have died because you're worried about microtransactions or overpriced DLC and the paradox method. It's interesting to see. So whether you're a fan of it or you're not a fan of it, it will be interesting to hear what the discussion on the internet has been. I've only been on Reddit, and that's just one place, and the discussion's already been all sorts of different opinions. So YouTube's a good way of seeing the whole spectrum. So it's definitely something that could be worth having a look at. So yeah, if you're listening now, get involved, baby. The video you just heard was an extract from our weekly podcast. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new around here. Check out plenty more of our content, which is on screen right now. Be sure to check out the link to our Patreon just above. Thanks very much.